Physical reality is not something that happens to us. It is a materialization of our innermost thoughts. Welcome to Living Seth.
Think about the Mandela effect. Millions of people around the world distinctly remember history in one specific way, while the official record suggests something else. While official records, history books, and internet archives say something completely different, leaving us to wonder which version of reality is actually true. For many years, critics and skeptics have brushed this phenomenon off as nothing more than a collective glitch in human memory or a simple misunderstanding. But what if the explanation is far more radical than that? What if the Mandela effect is actually a structural crack in our very perception of time and space? What if it is actual tangible proof of alternate universes physically sliding into each other, leaving behind subtle friction marks in our collective awareness? When you step away from mainstream science and dive deep into the Seth material, this mind-bending concept stops being a fringe theory and starts to make sense. Through the transcripts of the Seth sessions, we are given a precise blueprint of how reality actually functions, upending everything we think we know about history. Human beings naturally view time like a railroad track, moving strictly forward from the past, through the present and into the future without any deviation. We assume that if an event happens, it is locked in place forever. And if it didn't happen in our timeline, it simply does not exist in any form at all. But the Seth material explicitly states that this linear perspective is a necessary camouflage required only for our physical survival in this three-dimensional world. In the true nature of reality, time is simultaneous. All moments, all historical paths, and all variations of events are occurring right now in this very instant. Seth explains that our universe is a vast, interconnected web of probable realities existing simultaneously side by side, overlapping in ways we cannot see. Every single choice made by an individual, a nation, or a species causes a branch in reality, creating an entirely new, fully functional parallel universe. This means that history is not a single book with one set of printed pages. It is an infinite library of living documents that are constantly being updated. When groups of people experience the Mandela effect, they are not experiencing a trick of the mind. Instead, their consciousness has subtly shifted tracks. Because parallel timelines are nested tightly together within the greater framework of consciousness, they occasionally bleed through to our daily life. We are caught in a constant fluid movement through a multiverse of infinite possibilities, unaware that the ground beneath our feet is shifting every moment. If we accept this multi-dimensional blueprint as the truth of how creation operates, the implications for the grandest questions of human history are massive. For thousands of years, humanity has been locked in a seemingly endless debate over the existence of God, Jesus, and the divine structure of the universe. Skeptics demand historical proof, pointing to the gaps in ancient records, the contradictions in texts, and the lack of physical evidence to support faith. Believers rely on internal conviction, personal experience, and the endurance of sacred texts to defend their truth against those who demand objective proof. This clash has defined human philosophy, sparked wars, and divided civilizations for centuries, all based on the premise that only one side can be correct. Either a divine presence historically manifested in our reality, or it did not. There is no middle ground in a universe that only moves in one direction. But when you introduce the reality of the multiverse, the entire foundation of that debate completely crumbles, because both sides can be true at once. In a universe built on infinite probable tracks, existence is not an either-or proposition. Every possibility that can be imagined is playing out somewhere. If consciousness creates every possible timeline, then a divine presence like God or Jesus absolutely and definitively exists within the infinite multiverse. Even if a historical figure or a specific spiritual event is absent in one particular timeline, it is actively and dynamically playing out in another one. The divine is not a singular historical monument that happened once in the past. It is an omnipresent, multi-dimensional reality across all of creation. The Seth material reveals that consciousness is the primary building block of matter, and our thoughts actually create the physical world we inhabit. Thoughts, beliefs, and desires are not empty psychological data. They are highly concentrated charges of electromagnetic energy that carry physical weight. When millions of human beings focus their consciousness on a specific divine ideal, that intense mental energy carries enough mass to physically manifest a reality. A divine entity or an enlightened teacher does not need to fit into the narrow, rigid confines of a single textbook archive to be real and impactful. By the very laws of multidimensional physics, the profound spiritual connection that humans have felt across generations is a real response to energy. It is a direct response to a very real, enduring energy that is woven deeply into the fabric of the multiverse, connecting us all to the source of life. When you look at existence through this lens, the anxiety over proving or disproving faith completely evaporates as we realize everything is real. You no longer have to reconcile the historical contradictions of a single timeline or worry about the arguments that try to reduce truth to fabrication. Every spiritual truth, every expression of divine love, and every historical manifestation of the sacred is playing out somewhere in the vast tapestry. The Mandela effect serves as a constant, subtle reminder that the reality we see with our physical eyes is just a thin veil over a much grander system. It proves that the boundaries we set around what is real and what is impossible are completely arbitrary and based on our limited linear perception. In a multiverse where timelines slide, bleed, and branch out forever, the ultimate truth is that everything that can possibly exist already does exist. The spiritual anchor of creation remains completely intact, ensuring that no matter which timeline we wander into, the divine essence is always present.
Physical reality is not something that happens to us. It is a materialization of our innermost thoughts. Welcome to Living Seth.